morning and welcome along to round 4 of the 2020 FIM CEV Repsol Championship. We're once again here at the Circuito de Jerez Ángel Nieto, a stunning setting in the heart of Andalusia in southern Spain. Built in 1986, Jerez hosted its first Grand Prix a year later, and since then it's safe to say Jerez has provided many dramatic encounters and memorable moments from Grand Prix to grassroots. We had 4 action-packed races yesterday for round 3 that provided plenty of drama, so what does this Super Sunday have in store? My name is Elliot York and alongside me once again is Jack Gorst as we get set to bring you the two Moto3 Junior World Championships, I'll put my teeth in, 1 Hawkers European Talent Cup race and 1 Moto2 European Championship race. The sun is trying to shine once again, but there are a few clouds hovering, as you can see on this 4.4 kilometre layout that is familiar to a lot of fans and riders alike. And Jack, seems like we're in for another cracking day of FIM CEV Repsol racing.
Yeah, it certainly does. Good morning again, Elliot, and good morning again to everyone watching along at home. As you can see, the bikes are already out on track, getting ready for this race. There's a lot of readies there. Anyway, first up we do have Moto3, and yesterday it was pretty good action. Action all the way down to the final lap, and this is exactly what happened.
Yeah, you're right, Jack, and it was Daniel Munoz who started from pole. The number 7 got away well and led into the first corner, but your eventual race winner, Artigas on the Leopard Honda just there, didn't get away well, but he soon made his way to the front. Pedro Acosta found himself in P1, but there he is, Acosta, your eventual race winner, making a move up the inside of David Salvador, at turn 13, as you saw in the background there. Takuma Matsuyama and Scott Ogden, there he is walking away as they crashed out together at turn 13. David Salvador was a menace throughout in the opening exchanges and throughout the race. There he is, having a look up beside Artigas, as we see here Max Cook crashing heavily at turn 2, and unfortunately for the British rider, he'll miss today's race. Back at the front, it was Artigas and Acosta. There we see Lorenzo Fallon crashing out at turn 9 in the stadium section, but here is the lead group. It's Gerard Riu from Julio Garcia, and there's one of David Salvador's moves. He was doing that all race before the drama unfolded here at Dani Pedrosa corner there. Your joint championship leader and now former joint championship leader Pedro Acosta crashing out at turn 6. This ultimately left Xavi Artigas, that man there, to go on to win his second Junior World Championship race and take a healthy 25-point advantage in the championship. You just saw at the back of your screen there as well, David Munoz crashing at the final corner. It really was a dramatic day on Saturday here at the Circuito de Jerez Ángel Nieto. And we really are looking forward to 2 more action-packed races. There he is, your championship leader, Xavi Artigas. He'll start from P4 once again for the next 2 races, 16 laps. Face the Moto3 riders, and I mentioned the weather, Jack. It was sunny when we got here a couple of hours ago, and the clouds have rolled in, but it doesn't look like it's going to rain, so I don't think we've got that to worry about, but there's definitely some cloud cover that will make it slightly different track temperatures to yesterday.
Yeah, I think we're all good for the rain. I keep checking the weather app, and certainly no rain cloud or chance of rain in sight by the looks of it. So 21 degrees, 26 degrees track temperature is pretty perfect conditions, to be honest. The sun's not beating down on them, so it won't be too much of a physical test with the weather, only with the racetrack. And of course, this place, it doesn't give you any rest, as we saw yesterday with non-stop action and 3 fallers on the final lap, including your pole man, Daniel Munoz. He had a little bit of a nightmare, you got to say, from pole position. You can see him there, the number 7 on the far right of your screen. He was just rolling down to pole position. And this man, Scott Ogden, he had a little bit of a nightmare yesterday. He actually crashed with his teammate Matsuyama with a handful of laps remaining in the race, and unfortunately didn't finish.
We're just going to hear from Max Cook and Scott Ogden from the junior talent team. I think we're also going to hear from Josh Watley, so let's see what this brings.
I'm really grateful for this opportunity with the junior talent team. It's a great team, probably the best in the paddock, and for a British rider it's hard to get out of the British superbikes. Everyone is focused on being in superbikes and the MotoGP side sort of gets lost. So with this junior talent team, it's good to bring young British riders like me and Max through the the scene, and yeah, it's a great opportunity, and I can't thank them enough, and hopefully it helps me on the way to my hopefully career in this sport.
Hi, I'm Josh Watley. I'm from England, Evesham. I'm racing in the FIM Moto3, and it's good. I have some other British riders with me, Max Cook, Scott Ogden, and we're all from the British Talent Cup.
So we heard from that man there, Josh Watley. He'll start 31st on the grid, the number 70 rider. Keep a lookout for the British rider. And we also heard from Scott Ogden. He unfortunately crashed out at turn 13 in the open exchanges and took out his teammate Takuma Matsuyama. So not a good day for the junior talent team riders, but they'll be raring to go from their best ever grid slots in the Junior World Championship. And we're just going to mention Max Cook. We saw his nasty high side at turn 2 yesterday afternoon, Jack, and unfortunately for Max, he's fractured his pelvis in 2 parts, I think he said on Instagram this morning. So we wish Max a get well soon, because he's had a very, very good start to the 2020 Junior World Championship. Yeah,
he had a great start. He had 2 7th places and was one of the few that could actually chase down that lead pack both times in Estoril and Portimao. So yeah, big shame for Max. He was also doing the same thing here. He was just behind that lead pack as he really vicious high side at turn 2 and just flung him straight over the top. This is Izan Guevara. Not too bad of a day for him yesterday, considering that he crashed at lap 1 at turn 6, but he actually came through to finish 8th in the end, and his pace was pretty much just as strong as the lead pack. So no surprises the fact that he's qualified on the front row of the grid. He's pretty fast here this weekend. Hopefully, if he stays out of trouble on this first lap, we should see him fighting for a podium.
Yeah, great recovery ride from the reigning European Talent Cup champion, and he was fastest in warm-up this morning by a 10th to this man, Pedro Acosta. Now, we saw the drama at turn 6 on the final lap. It really wasn't Acosta's fault. It was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, as Gerard Riou and Daniel Holgado went up the inside, and 3 doesn't really go into 1 around turn 6, and Acosta was the unlucky party and he crashed out, suffering a DNF. So the good news for Acosta really is that he's got 2 races to make amends today, but he'll be fully focused on beating Xavi Artigas, who now has a 25-point lead, and this is the Leopard rider.
Yeah, Xavi Artigas really took advantage of that small, well, not even a mistake from Pedro Acosta. He was just unlucky to crash out at turn 6 on the final lap, and desperately unlucky as well, because he'd actually led most of the race, to be honest. He really looked like he had a firm command on the race, and it looked like he was probably going to be one of the guys going into that final corner in the front 1 or 2 places. But Artigas, he certainly won't be apologising for anything that happened yesterday. He's now got a 25-point lead in the championship, as Elliot said, and well, you wouldn't count him out from being in that winning fight again today.
No, he's definitely going to be there, isn't he? And you wouldn't put it past him winning 1 or both of these races. But he's going to have a lot of attention, and one of the riders who will be giving him a lot of attention is this man, Gerard Riou. He picked up his maiden podium of the season last time out there. You can see good progress from the first race in Estoril, 11th, and then finished 8th in Portimao, and then he's got that eagerly anticipated first podium of the season as the 20-year-old from Barcelona.
Yeah, really happy for him, actually, because we were saying yesterday just on the grid, like, we were wondering when it was all going to finally come together for him in 2020. It is his 4th year in the class, so you expect him to be fighting at the front every weekend, and it hadn't really been that way so far. And this man was also fighting at the front. Of course, he was in the middle of that drama at turn 6 where Pedro Acosta unfortunately crashed out. But Daniel Holgado, he was absolutely buzzing about all over the place in that front group yesterday. It was great to see, putting in moves left, right and centre, and eventually went on to pick up 2nd place and his first podium of the year as well.
Yeah, that result has seen Daniel Holgado move from 5th in the championship up to 3rd, so he's jumped 2 places, and he's one of the riders who comes into this weekend off the back of a very good Red Bull Rookies Cup performance over in Austria over them 2 weekends. Incidentally, I'm sure some of you might know that Pedro Acosta won all 4 of them races, and Daniel Holgado was on the podium in all 4. So looks like they're going to do battle again today. This man, Nicholas Spinelli, didn't have the best of days yesterday. He was caught up in the turn 6, lap 1 incident that involved Izan Guevara. As we previously mentioned, Spinelli wasn't able to remount and ultimately suffered a DNF, but he'll be spearheading the 3rd row of the grid once again, and the number 11 will be aiming to right the wrongs of yesterday.
Yeah, certainly. And then lining up next to him on the grid, we do have David Salvador, number 38, just appearing on your screen there. He went pretty well yesterday. Actually ended up 4th place, just narrowly missing out on his 2nd podium of the year. But it does mean he's now up into 4th in the championship as well. So if we can see him continue his consistency, because as you see there, he's had a 6th, a 3rd and a 4th, he's certainly going to be one that is going to be moving up in the championship, as a lot of the guys have suffered kind of up and down results in the last race or 2.
Yeah, he was a formidable force in race 1 yesterday, or round 3 I should say. Yesterday he was pulling some very good moves around the entire circuit as we focus in on the pole man, Daniel Munoz, and I think we're going to see the grid form. The 5-minute board or 2-minute board has been held, and here we go then, the starting grid for round 4, and it's Daniel Munoz from Izan Guevara and Pedro Acosta. Championship leader Artigas leads row 2 from Gerald Rio and Daniel Holgado, and row 3 is Nicholas Spinelli, David Salvador and Takuma Matsuyama, the leading junior talent team rider.
Following them up is Diogo Moreira, David Munoz and Scott Ogden. He'll be looking to stay on the bike today. Adrian Fernandez, Raul's brother, Joel Kelso, Rueda, Garcia, Fusco and Masaki. Masaki was quick yesterday, watch out for him coming through.
Giral, Fallon and Vosacek go from row 7. Row 8 is Asman, Rouge and Nishimura. Row 9 is Plonk, Ticini and Egius.
And then following them up in row 10 is Dirk Geiger, Filippo Palazzi, Diaz, Watley, as we heard from him earlier, Buazri, Rehak and Arita rounding out the grid in 34th.
Here we go then, the first of 2 Junior World Championship races will soon be kicking off here in Jerez on Sunday. The gates are closed and they roll away from the line. I saw the yellow flags waving there, I was a little bit worried someone had stalled, but I think they're all off and away up into turn 1 for the sighting lap. We mentioned the junior talent team riders, they're a depleted field once again, and we should mention Bill Van Erd and Mario Aggi. They both crashed in qualifying on Friday. Bill Van Erd unfortunately suffered a fractured left femur and he's undergone successful surgery. And Mario Aggi suffered 3 broken metacarpals in his left hand, so we wish those 2 junior talent team riders a speedy recovery, and also Max Cook, of course, who had that crash yesterday, will miss the 2 races today.
Yeah, real nightmare for the talent team. Obviously, they're going to have to regroup now. Hopefully get those injuries all sorted. No big dramas with them. Take a little bit of time off and come back stronger than ever, whenever that may well be. Anyway, we're building up to the start of this race. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Daniel Munoz can do from pole. We didn't really see what he could do yesterday, because he kind of got beaten up on those first couple of laps and was already back in the pack. Obviously, he was in the lead pack going into that final lap, and then, well, just drama at the final corner where unfortunately he went straight on and crashed out. But certainly one that if he gets a little bit of a better start, he should be fighting up towards the very top end of that lead pack rather than the back of it.
Yeah, we didn't see a full replay of the crash. We just saw a shot of Munoz going straight into the gravel and hitting the air fence, but he did remount and managed to cross the line in 22nd. Obviously no points on the board for the pole sitter, but from pole position I'm sure he's sat down with his team yesterday, gone through what went wrong, and here we look at the long lap penalty location. Some of the riders deciding to practice going through there. We saw a couple of the riders having to do it yesterday. Watch out for any jump starts. They'll be having to take that twice, and then any exceeding track limits during the race, if it is on the last lap, where we'll see the riders get demoted 1 position. If you do it on the last lap, then you automatically get demoted 1 position. So keep an eye on track limits because it does play its part across the classes here in FIM CEV Repsol. There's the red flag. Signals the riders to stop at their grid slots. There's the front row of Munoz, Guevara and Acosta. Guevara will be hoping for a better start from P2 than he got yesterday.
Yeah, he needs to avoid trouble, doesn't he?
Certainly. So the green flag has waved, the red lights are on and they're off straight away. That was very, very quick.
Stalled.
Uh-oh. Okay, thankfully everyone's avoided him. So Daniel Munoz gets a great start on the number 7. He'll get the whole shot. Acosta goes into second and Artigas gets a good start from P4. That's disaster for Matsuyama. He was going to start 9th. Oh, but he stalled it, but thankfully no one was able to collect him. So round turn 2 we go then. It's Daniel Munoz who once again leads the race from Acosta, and Artigas has made his way up to 3rd. A better start than he got yesterday with Gerard Rio slotting into 4th.
Yeah, disaster for Matsuyama off the line, stalling his talent team Honda. But anyway, back to the front. Xavi Artigas is making short work of his championship rival Pedro Acosta, already up into 2nd from 4th on the grid. As we see Matsuyama running back, they'll probably try to get that. Oh, who was that? Was that Gerard Ryu maybe?
No, I think Gerard Ryu was just there.
Oh, Gerard Ryu is 4th in your picture, so that must have been Joel Kelso, is it?
I think you're right, Jack. Yeah, we'll just try and get confirmation for you when it pops up on our timing screens, or we get a replay. But I think Izan Guevara there, as we turn our attentions away.
Yeah, I think that is the AGR team bike number 66 with Joel Kelso. We will confirm that for you as soon as it does appear on our timing screens.
Izan Guevara shoving Daniel Munoz out the way. Glad to see Joel Kelso up on his feet.
Yeah, I can see the Australian flag on the helmet, so that definitely is Joel Kelso. That's unfortunate for him. It looks like he maybe just had a little bit of a helping hand from Diogo Moreira there, so unfortunate for him. Let's hope he's not got any injuries. We saw him limping off a little bit, but he seems to be okay. Back to the front, Izan Guevara has made a rocket ship start. He's made it past turn 6 and he's going to lead over the line most likely, as long as he doesn't get dive bombed into Lorenzo corner. Speaking of dive bomb, Xavi Artigas is up the inside of the poleman Daniel Munoz as we come round to complete lap 1.
Yeah, great opening lap for the number 28, the reigning European Talent Cup champion Izan Guevara. He leads over the line by a good 3 tenths over Gerard Rio and Artigas, and Acosta's just been shuffled down to 5th a bit, and I think that was Adrian Fernandez making a good move up the inside there. He'll be wanting to right the wrongs of yesterday because he was another rider that was caught up in the turn 6 drama with Izan Guevara and Nicolas Spinelli. So a better getaway here for Adrian Fernandez as we see Izan Guevara looking strong at the front. I must say, Jack, when we watched some of the riders out on track on Friday during qualifying, I was very impressed with Izan Guevara as we see Matsuyama thankfully getting back underway, but he'll be having a lonely ride at the back of the race. We'll see how close he can get to the group, but he's a good half a lap down, isn't he? So that's a shame for the junior talent team rider. But yeah, back to Izan Guevara. When we were here on Friday, he was lapping alone, wasn't he? And he was lapping quick. So I've been very impressed with Izan Guevara this weekend.
I think just in the background, Misaki may have just clipped the handlebar of, I think it was number 11 Spinelli. Yes, it is. Spinelli's dropped all the way to the back of that group. But speaking of Misaki, he's also had a really good start. He's come up from 18th on the grid and he's now into the top 10. So we did say he was quick. Yesterday he was very unfortunate because he actually, well, he DNF'd this race, but it was no fault of his own. He had a technical problem. And back to your point, Elliot, about Izan Guevara, yes, he was extremely quick during free practice and qualifying, doing a lot of time on his own, not in the group, not caring about what anyone else is doing, just working on race pace. And, well, if he's out front now, it seems as though that is going to come right into his hands here.
He won here in the European Talent Cup last season to claim the title, as we see Artigas making a typical turn 13 move at the inside of Gerard Rio. That was nicely done for your championship leader. As they come across the line with 14 laps to go, it's Izan Guevara leading, and there's a slight gap now. We mentioned Daniel Munoz lost sight of the leaders in the open exchanges in yesterday's race, and it seems to be happening again for the poleman, the number 7 just there with David Salvador just behind him, and that's Daniel Holgado latching onto the back of this lead group of 5 now. Let's see if we can see the group behind chase up. They're only a few tenths down at the moment, but that could all soon change as Pedro Acosta there, the number 37, sets the fastest lap of the race. I think we're going to see plenty more of those fastest laps coming in.
Yeah, and that lap is so fast it would have put him on pole. So, yeah, absolutely on it this morning. They're all lapping in kind of the low 46s to mid 46 ranges. Now we do see Acosta blast past Gerard Riou on the HER team bike up into P3 and chasing down his championship rival and the race leader, Izan Guevara.
Just insight into how quick that lap was, 46.266. Compared to the Moto3 World Championship best race lap set by Sergio Garcia this year, a 146.1, so they're only a tenth off it, and that just proves how quick these Moto3 Junior World Championship boys really are. Admittedly, the conditions probably are slightly better for the riders, but let's not take anything away from Acosta's lap there. They are absolutely flying around the Circuito de Jerez and Angel Nieto, and still Izan Guevara leading from Xavi Artigas, but Artigas has managed to reel in the 28 on this lap.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing Izan Guevara at the front of a Moto3 race now. He's just kind of chipped away at it this year. He's slowly got better and better and dragged himself towards the front. He's had 2 8th places and a 13th this year, but we're kind of questioning, like, what can he do at the front? But we know exactly what he can do at the front. All year, last year, in ETC, in the European Talent Cup, well, he led pretty much every race. I can't remember how many races he won, but he only lost a handful of them. So he certainly knows what to do at the head of a pack and knows how to set a pace.
Yeah, he won 6 races on the bounce last year in the European Talent Cup, and obviously that was formidable form, and it saw him take the title with 3 races left in the season. He really did set the standard last year, and of course that saw him move up to the Moto3 Junior World Championship this year, and he looks like he's settled in very well. He's leading from the front from more experienced riders in Artigas and Acosta. And speaking of the duo, I think Acosta's going to try and make a move at the inside. Not quite. Artigas was good on the brakes there as Holgado and Gerard Riou get close. And we were speaking of Daniel Munoz, the number 7. He has closed back up to the leaders, so he's not down and out yet by any means.
No, certainly not. As we just see, unfortunately, there, Filippo Palazzi has crashed at turn 10 on the previous lap. They're just coming up to that now, so hopefully everything is all cleared as they come through now with 13 laps to go. But as you do say, just about to mention him, he's had a little bit of a wiggle and a shiggle there. I don't know what word that was. Daniel Munoz is on the back of this lead group, so he's pulled himself up. He's actually setting his personal best sectors this lap, so it seems as though he's into his rhythm. Well, let's see if he can come through them as well. As we see Adrian Fernandez behind them, he's just pushed through past David Salvador, so he's at the head of that second pack now and closing in on the leaders.
A wiggle and a sugar, I like that. I might start using that in everyday life.
Yeah, that's a good one, that, isn't it?
So with 12 laps to go, it looks to me like Artigas and Acosta are looking fairly impatient. What lap time is Guevara doing? So last lap he was at 46.9. That's compared to the fastest lap that our Acosta set a couple of laps ago of 46.2. So the pace has dropped, and with Acosta setting that 46.2, you've got to think that they can run a lot quicker pace than what Izan Guevara is setting at the minute. But
well, remarkably, Elliot, just as you're saying about Guevara's 46.9, all the way down to Diogo Moreira in 11th place. From 2nd to 11th, every single one of those guys was quicker than the race leader on that lap. So this whole group, well, they're pretty much closing up together. It's only 1.9 down to, it's now David Munoz, Diogo Moreira in 11th place. So watch out for those 2 guys at the back. They may also be catching this front pack if Izan Guevara is backing them up.
Yeah, this front group has now formed to a leading 8, a leading 9 if you count Kazuki Masaki, just the number 22 there, rounding turn 7 as we go into turn 8. Adrian Fernandez on the other Laglice Academy machine. As we said earlier, he crashed out. Thought Artigas was going to make a move there, but not quite this time around. Yeah, Fernandez crashed out at turn 6, and obviously that suffered a DNF for the man who was 3rd in the championship and has had a podium this year. So this is a better race already for Adrian Fernandez, who's got his older brother Raul here, who of course is doing great work on the Moto3 World Championship scenes. We see Artigas now making his move under Izan Guevara at Jorge Lorenzo corner, and is Acosta going to win the drag into turn 1 over Guevara? He tucks into the slipstream. Is Guevara going to make a move? I don't think he is. Is Acosta going to make a move? No. So it's now Artigas who leads the race with 11 to go.
Yeah, you could see how keen Acosta was immediately as soon as he saw Artigas go underneath the 28 of Izan Guevara. He was like, right, I've got to go with him. I don't want him to start pulling a gap if Izan Guevara is going to be a little bit slower than him on these next few laps. And speaking of the pace, they've backed it all the way down. Some of them are now into the 47s with a few behind, still doing low 46s. So certainly the pace has dropped off a little bit. Not too sure if they're just conserving themselves for later in the race, but Izan Guevara may well have just been backing up this pack a little bit.
Yeah, we'll soon find out. I think this lap is going to be a big one in terms of seeing what sort of pace Artigas has got, because there you see the number 25 Raul Fernandez going around the outside of Daniel Holgado. He's going to have the inside line for turn 7, so I think he's going to make that move stick. Yes, he does so. Fernandez is up into 4th place. He set a 46.3 last time around, and yeah, like you say, Jack, that 47.0 for Guevara. So Fernandez was a good 7/10ths quicker than the number 28, but Artigas isn't stretching really as I thought he would. Guevara's just set his personal best sector 2 and then sector 3. Artigas was a couple of tenths quicker, and
so Acosta's going to be under him here.
Costa under the inside at turn 11, will sweep through turn 12. I mentioned that gap a couple of corners ago, and that has risen.
And Gerard Riu looks like he's going to bite through on Adrian Fernandez, as Holgado had just got him going through turn 11 as well. So I was just about to say, actually, that's pretty simple, isn't it? Go. Just do it. So, yeah, I was just about to say, actually, Adrian Fernandez has been really impressive. As soon as he's got onto the back of each of these riders, he's not wasted any time. He's gone through them. And now this is the first time we've seen him shuffled back a little bit after he started coming through this lead pack. So we'll see if he can retaliate. And, yeah, as I say that, back up the inside of Gerard Riu, as we see the top 4 just with a little bit of breathing room, but I'm sure that will close back up in the next few sectors.
Yeah, Holgado now getting past his teammate Izan Guevara into turn 2. He can see Artigas trying to break, Acosta trying to go with him, and there's the number 96 of Holgado, who finished on the podium yesterday. He'll be wanting to repeat that and, for his sake, go for the win.
Yeah, Acosta
down the back straight.
A little bit out of the seat there, just coming out of turn 5 down the back straight. So it looks like Guevara is going to retaliate on his teammate. That's pretty tight. Yeah, Holgado wasn't going to give way to that one, was he? Yeah, he's going to just drop it back over the nose as they come through turn 7, the 2 fast left-handers.
So on the last lap then, it was a 46.7 for Xavi Artigas, so the pace dropped by 3/10. Incidentally, further down, Jose Antonio Rueda in 13th, so 47.3. But I think they've just lost too much time in the open exchanges to try and catch these riders up. We'll keep an eye on that, of course, but I think this pace is going to be upped, as we see in the background. Has Daniel Munoz got something flapping off his bike there as he ran wide onto the green? That's exceeding track limits. You can't do that too many times.
Oh. Is that Sho Nishimura?
73.
That's Sho Nishimura on the 13.
Sorry.
It's unfortunate for the Japanese rider. He's crashed out. He was running down in, I think it was about the top 20. I wasn't too sure. I hadn't caught him on the timing screens just there. Anyway, we crossed the line for 9 laps to go. It looks like Artigas is going to make his move again. Yeah, really late on the brakes there. Can he get it stopped? Yeah, just about. Not bad from Artigas. As we see, also Fernandez has pickpocketed Izan Guevara up into 4th place again, with David Salvador now going on the inside of Gerard Riu. Riu's going to hang around the outside, not sure. No, just slots in behind him back into 7th place.
Yeah, so Acosta briefly took the lead there from Artigas, but Artigas got the move done down into turn 1, as we see Sho Nishimura being scooted away. He looks okay, thankfully.
Yeah, that's a shame.
The crash.
Ooh,
that is nasty on the
one,
exit of turn 6.
Looked like the bike just kind of came back up into him as he came down from it off the high side. But yeah, big shame for, that is Acosta's teammate, actually, Sho Nishimura in the Team MT Foundation 77 team.
It's getting close down at turn 6. I think that's Adrian Fernandez, it is, who's up into 2nd place, and Guevara's got back past Pedro Acosta for 3rd place, so didn't quite catch the entry into turn 6, but obviously there was a bit of a reshuffling down there. It's a very popular passing pace, probably the most popular on the circuit, as Adrian Fernandez goes to the inside and will take the lead into turn 9. Great move from the Spaniard, and he holds it round into turn 10. So we have a new race leader in Adrian Fernandez, who runs slightly wide. I think he was just on the green there. Got to watch out for track limits. We'll tell you if anything pops up on our timing screens. We had a few of them yesterday, and the riders just got to be careful. As Daniel Munoz goes close there as well. He's just losing touch slightly. Oh, Acosta backs it in there and gets back up the inside of Guevara.
Yeah, there was about 7 different lines there into turn 13, every single one of them on a completely different one. So we see them all weaving all around the track, trying to get the best run and drive down into turn 1, as it looks like Acosta's got the best of them all, as he goes back up into second place behind Fernandez, who's just hit front on the last lap.
So Artigas couldn't break them then, he couldn't get away. I thought once Artigas got to the front, his team said go, but he couldn't quite make a break from the chasing pack, and it looks like once again in typical Moto3 fashion, what's this group made up of? It's
down to David Munoz in 10th.
Daniel Munoz,
sorry,
7 is off our timing screens. I can't see him unless I'm being... No, it says Daniel Munoz on our timing screens has stopped. So I think this happened yesterday actually. I think there might be something wrong with the transponder on the number 7. You can see him there. That's close.
That's really close. Wow, who was that? Was that Guevara? So Fernandez has been shuffled back as we see Masaki, Fernandez's teammate, now come through into 5th place behind the lead guys. That was really close. Definitely a little bit of fair and bashing down into turn 6 there. Masaki hangs it round the outside of Guevara. Guevara's going to try to get the drive and the tight line to drop it over his nose, but no, not quite. As Fernandez takes 2 in one corner and almost loses the front.
There's his brother Raul.
Raul's just telling him, you need to calm down, calm down.
He'll be racing every lap with his brother, won't he, Raul? He knows what a Moto3 battle is like. He's finished a lot of top 10s this year in the 2020 World Championship as the Red Bull KTM rider, and his brother is now passed by David Salvador, the number 28, down into turn 13. That was close there at turn 6. Keep an eye on that corner because we're going to see plenty of drama down there in the last 7 laps of this race and in race 2 as well later this afternoon. But it's your top 2 in the championship, Pedro Acosta and Xavi Artigas, who lead the way once again. These two have been at the forefront of this 2020 Junior World Championship this season, and they're there again. But Gerard Riou, who finished on the podium last time out yesterday, is in 3rd. He's looking strong once more as Gerard Riou. He's taken confidence from that 3rd place as Izan Guevara now just taps the back of his bike, says, stick with me, Diogo Moreira and Daniel Munoz. We're going to try and catch back up to the leaders, and the first one of those to Guevara is the number 96 Salvador, as you come down back into turn 6. Then what's going to happen this time around? Pedro Acosta on the inside, but Artigas breaks late. It's always close in there.
Yeah, David Salvador up the inside of Gerard Riou. Really good on the brakes. We pointed that one out yesterday, that he was so strong. Just brake and direct it toward the apex like no one else could. So yeah, David Salvador, watch out for him in the last few laps if it comes down to a final corner lunge. And as we say, the big loser on that last lap exchange at turn 6 was Izan Guevara, now just about 3 or 4 tenths off the back of these boys. So we'll see if he's got the pace to be able to drag them back up as Julian Garcia is in the gravel. Not sure what turn that is. Maybe turn 1.
I think
not too
6.
sure.
I think it was turn 6, but I could be wrong. Judging from the camera angle, some more drama down at turn 6, if I'm not mistaken. And it looks like Guevara has just bridged that gap. So, what a Acosta there! Wow, backing it in nicely, and Gerard Riou slots up the inside of Adrian Fernandez. Says thank you very much. Adrian will slot through in the inside, but it's Pedro Acosta now leading from Xavi Artigas, but it's not going to stay that way for long because Artigas is up the inside at turn 1. Is he slightly wide? I thought he was a little bit hot into there, but no, the Leopard rider gets it stopped well, and that's a very clean move from the number 43. There's Guevara going through on, is that Fernandez or Masaki? It's Fernandez, I think, that's got shuffled back. No, it's Masaki, sorry. Masaki is there on the number 22. You'll recognise him from a few seasons on the World Championship scene, the 2017 Red Bull Rookies champion.
Yeah, Daniel Munoz was just out wide a little bit in the background, out on those track limits. Another man that was out wide, I think that was Pedro Acosta, it was, yeah. So he's gone from 2nd, and he looks like, whoa, he's almost squeezes and Guevara onto the grass. So Pedro Acosta all the way down to about 6th place, as we do just see on our timing screens a track limits warning pop up for number 7, Daniel Munoz. He did just at turn 4 there go out onto the green, so it's probably that one that has awarded him with that track limits warning.
Yeah, he looks like he's on the limit to try and keep with these guys, and I've seen him a couple of times do exceed track limits, sorry, and yeah, race direction have spotted it and handed him a warning, so he can't do that too many more times, otherwise he will be visiting that long lap penalty around the outside of turn 13, as Artigas now has a slight lead over Gerard Riu and David Salvador. And yeah, you're right, Jack, Pedro Acosta's been shuffled down now to P7, and that's not good news for the man second in the championship, as you can see Artigas leading from the front.
Yeah, definitely not good news. Artigas looks like he's trying to take advantage of a little bit of chaos behind him on this lap to just give himself that half-second buffer, so maybe he can start to put a lap in. I'll tell you what, I just spotted that thing you said a few laps ago that was flapping about on Daniel Munoz's bike. Yeah, I'm not too sure what it is. It's down by the left front brake disc, so not 100% sure. Possibly just some tape or something, as I think that was Izan Guevara just barging Adrian Fernandez out of the way at turn 1, as Fernandez had to take a foot off to counteract not crashing. So yeah, and it looks like he's lost 2 more positions after that as well. So Fernandez now just in front of his teammate Masaki, down in 7th and 8th.
Right, this is now crucial. Artigas, that's probably the biggest lead a race leader has had during this race, as Guevara's slowly making his way back up into the podium positions. This is a good race from Izan Guevara, and the gap from Artigas to Gerard Riu at the minute is 0.4 seconds, so they don't want it to go out much further, because if Artigas can get into his rhythm without being disrupted, as we see Guevara going up the inside of Gerard Riu, and that's Salvador trying to go up the inside of Gerard Riu. I think Riu's going to hold it. Yes, he is, because he's got the inside line for turn 7, and I just saw Guevara there tapping the back of his bike once again and say, stick with me, boys, we've got to catch up to the championship leader, and he did that a couple of laps ago, and now he sits second, so he's probably not wrong.
Yeah, certainly not. I think they're all afraid of Xavi Artigas getting away and taking a double victory here this weekend. Certainly one man that will be afraid of that is Pedro Acosta, as he's trying to regroup and barge his way through back up to the front of this lead pack. But Guevara, I tell you what, it looks like he's just starting to at least be level with Xavi Artigas on pace this lap, and maybe we'll start to close it in on the next lap or so. As we come across the line for 4 laps to go, it looks like Pedro Acosta's going to try to get 2. No, only gets 1. David Salvador gets demoted a position by the second man. And oh, that was a huge one for Daniel Munoz. Got the rear end lit up and it kicked him out of the seat coming out of turn 13.
So the gap still is 4 tenths. The gap from the end of sector 1 to the finish line remained pretty constant. So that's not really good news for the chasing pack. Where's Acosta? There you see the track limits warning for rider 7. That's Daniel Munoz who posted, so we got out the seat there. That was a close call for the number 7, who ended his race at the final corner in yesterday's action. But yeah, I'm not sure what that flapping is at the back of his bike.
Yeah, not sure.
We'll see the replay of his moment here as he gets on the power.
Yeah, really got it properly lit up coming out of Lorenzo corner there, didn't he? Certainly won't have deterred him. He'll be full gas back on them. Well, as we say that, he's actually dropped back even further, so not too sure whether he made another mistake.
Costa there, Jack, sorry. Costa backed it in there, nearly lost the rear end, and he's lost some places. I think he's gone from about 5th down to 7th or 8th position. He's now behind David Salvador, Adrian Fernandez. There he is, the number 37. He's just, like we say, just seeing Artigas lead from the front. Oh, Gerard Riu's down at turn 9.
Just took the front, too much brake going into turn 9, and Gerard Riu has crashed out, so no repeat podium performance from him in race 1 today as he got yesterday. A big shame for Gerard Riu, just as it looked like it was all coming together for him in the 2020 season. What it has done, it's split up that group a little bit, and Izan Guevara, he really is slowly clawing back as, wow, Acosta, full lock, full opposite lock into turn 13, but unfortunately he loses that pace that he picked up on the entry.
Thankfully, Gerard Riu is walking away from the crash. He'll be able to go again in race 2. The team trundle off back into the garage. Let's have another look. So yeah, I think it's your typical turn 9 crash. We see it quite often throughout the classes, and he just tucks the front.
Yeah,
a little bit too hard on the brakes, and down she goes.
Maybe just a fraction wide as well on the entry.
Yeah, he did actually. Yeah, that's a good point. So the gap at the front then, 0.3 seconds. It's come down by 10, but that looks
much bigger than 0.3.
0.3. Has there been a mistake made? It does look like something happened, because Izan Guevara set 26.3 in sector 1, whereas Artigas was a 26.1 and Fernandez behind was a 26.0. So maybe Guevara ran slightly wide at turn 1 or turn 2.
Yeah, possibly just try outbraking himself, as it looks as though Pedro Acosta is going to try outbrake David Salvador, and so he does. And as Andrew Fernandez runs wide, Acosta picks up 2 places in the one corner, with Salvador losing 2 as well, as Holgado comes through on him in that one.
2.5 laps to go then. Pedro Acosta is back up into 3rd place. He's got Izan Guevara in his sights, and further up the road he's got his main championship rival, Xavi Artigas, just into his rhythm. He's not being challenged by anyone at the moment, is Artigas. He's got a nice half-second buffer, and that's going to be difficult to close down, and Guevara has done his best, but he's not managed to quite do it yet, as Acosta now tags onto the back of his fellow Spaniard. Is he going to make a move into turn 13? Surely he's going to have a look. He has done on the previous laps. He'll back it in. No, not quite. Doesn't have a look this lap, but Salvador does up the inside of Daniel Holgado. That's for 5th place for Salvador. So 2 laps to go then. It's down to business time. What's the gap over the line? It was 6 tenths. It's down to 3 tenths.
Yeah, you certainly can't say just yet that Xavi Artigas has got this one wrapped up. This gap could close in 1 sector. All he needs to do is make one tiny mistake, and Izan Guevara and Pedro Acosta will be back on him. It's interesting as well that Xavi Artigas has been able to get out the front and really just kind of put a stamp on this race, where Pedro Acosta has just been kind of beaten up and having to get back by people as they come back by him as well. So certainly not going all his own way today at round 4 of the 2020 Championship, but it does seem to be going his championship rival Xavi Artigas' way today.
There's a lot of gravel up there at the top of the hill coming down into the run into turn 6. I'm not sure why that is, but they've all negotiated safely, and that gap has definitely come down in the last 1.5 laps, hasn't it?
Yeah,
didn't see Artigas make any mistakes, so maybe the number 28 of Guevara and the 37 of Acosta have just got their teeth in, and that gap really is now pretty much nothing. So it's race on with 2.5 laps to go here in race 1 of the Junior World Championship round 4. Acosta shows a little bit of a wheel to Guevara, but not quite making the move stick. So he's got 1 and a bit laps now to pass Guevara and try tag onto the back of the number 43 as Acosta. He's 25 points down, remember, in the championship to the Leopard rider, and that's only going to increase if the points stay as they are. But this really is anyone's from the top 6 riders.
Oh, Guevara's
wide there, yeah.
So Guevara goes wide at turn 13. Terrible time for him to make a mistake, as they come onto the final lap. Xavi Artigas' gap is exactly 0.188 of a second, so pretty much nothing. Pedro Acosta, his championship rival, is all over the back of him as he gets a little bit of a wriggle out of turn 1. We're going to be building for a grandstand finish here. Watch out for turn 13, because I guarantee it's probably going to be there where the move's coming in.
Yeah, you're probably right, Jack, and I've just got to say, Acosta's last couple of laps have been absolutely magnificent. He was at least half a second behind Artigas as the Leopard Racing rider team look on, as their rider is now closed in by his championship rival, and the top 2 now have a slight gap to Guevara, but that's going to change down the back straight. So here we go then. Down the back straight into turn 6. Is Acosta in the slipstream? Yes, he is. He's going to be close enough. The 43 goes defensive. The 37, is he going to look? Surely he's going to be late on the brakes. He is, but Artigas is also late on the brakes. He's going to run wide though.
Oh, David Salvador was
sure.
really late
on the exit. Yeah, Salvador. He is wide. He is wide. Is he going to have the inside line? So no, Acosta takes the lead on the exit of turn 6. We have a change of the lead on the last lap. It's Pedro Acosta from Xavi Artigas. Is Guevara going to look up the inside at turn 8? Yes, he is. This is bad news for Artigas. Great news for Acosta. Is he going to lose 3rd place? Now he is. David Salvador has gone through on Artigas, so he's gone from P1 to P4 in a matter of a sector, and it's now Acosta leading into the stadium section.
Yeah, it's all gone to smithereens for Xavi Artigas on the final lap, but Pedro Acosta, he's got to hold off now. He's got to go defensive against Izan Guevara. Guevara will surely look to the inside to dive down the inside on the brakes. He's coming up now. Watch for him, pull to the inside. He's gone for it, and he goes for it. Is he going to run wide?
Salvador!
Pedro Acosta.
Oh, that was so close. He tags Pedro Acosta. Salvador goes down, and that's left Izan Guevara leading to the run to line with Artigas 2nd, Acosta 3rd. It's going to finish like that. I think Guevara takes his first Junior World Championship win, and you called it at the last corner, Jack. It did come down to it, and that was late drama. Acosta was lucky to stay on there. Salvador made an audacious move, and it didn't work out for the Spaniard. He tagged the back of Acosta, and that just lost Acosta. P1, Guevara is understandably so pleased with that. Whoa. Catch your breath after that, Jack. That was...
Whoa! And they're almost down on the cool-down lap. We saw that in MotoGP with the Sky Racing team boys. We don't want to see that here as well. But yeah, somehow after all that, after going from 1st to 4th on the final lap, Xavi Artigas eventually gets 2nd, and more importantly, beats his closest championship rival, Pedro Acosta, who finished 3rd.
Whoa, what a race and what a final lap. Acosta went from P1 at this point in the circuit down into turn 6. He was slightly in hot, which allowed Pedro Acosta to come through. And then he lost P2 and P3 as well before, as always, turn 13. It always stages some drama on the last lap, doesn't it? We've seen it plenty of times over the years. David Salvador making a last lap lunge for the podium that didn't work out. He tagged to the back of Pedro Acosta. David Salvador crashed out. No points for the number 38. And thankfully for that man Acosta, he pulls a wheelie. He finishes 3rd. It's an important podium, but it could have been so much more, couldn't it? Xavi Artigas beats him again. There is David Salvador. Trundle's back down pit lane speaking to one of his team members. He looks okay, thankfully. He'll be aiming to make amends in race 2 later on this afternoon. I think we might get a replay of this last corner. Yes, we are. So, Salvador was in 3rd place. Does brake pretty late, and he was on the inside line. Acosta was taking a wide sweeping line. Salvador tags the back wheel of Acosta, and he went down. Fortunately, no other riders went down with him, as we see Izan Guevara pulling into Parc Ferme as a junior world championship winner for the first time. He won here last year in the European Talent Cup, and he's won here again. There's Xavi Artigas. He'll be happy to beat Pedro Acosta. It's another podium for Xavi Artigas in 2020. It's 4 podiums on the bounce now for the young Spaniard. Izan Guevara getting congratulations from a Dunlop technician and his team. We'll be hearing from him shortly. He's going to be speaking to Jack Gorst. Congratulations from Artigas. He's got to be pleased with the P2 there. It's always difficult in Moto3, isn't it? The last lap always provides plenty of drama. We saw it here in the Moto3 World Championship. We've seen it here in the Junior World Championship yesterday and now today too. Acosta, well, he doesn't look too happy, and he probably isn't, to be fair. 3rd place is better than his DNF yesterday, though. That wasn't his fault. And that last lap incident also wasn't his fault either. It cost him potentially a win, potentially a 2nd place. All we can say is it allowed Xavi Artigas to go up the inside and claim 20 points. Acosta takes 16 away. So that's 4 extra points over Acosta in the bag for the Leopard Impala junior rider, Xavi Artigas. They'll go at it again this afternoon, though. Acosta will be, if he wasn't hungry enough for the win this morning, he certainly will be now. He trundles off into the background to get ready for the podium. As we can now hear from your race winner, Izan Guevara is down with Jack Gorst.
Izan Guevara, your first win in the Moto3 Junior World Championship. How does it feel?
Yeah, I'm really happy. I'm incredible the race and the battle in the group. In my 4th race in Moto3, my first win in my 1st year. I'm incredible. I thanks to my team for supporting me, and my sponsors and my family.
¿Y en español?
Bueno, ha sido una carrera muy difícil, no me esperaba para nada ganar. Ha sido una batalla en grupo, en cada curva yo tenía un toque con un piloto, que cada curva nos tocábamos o había algo. Pero bueno, ha sido una carrera increíble, mi 4ª carrera en en Moto3 y conseguir una victoria es lo mejor que hay. Y quiero agradecer a mi equipo por apoyarme siempre, a mis sponsors y a mi familia que está viendo la carrera desde casa. Bye.
Certainly we'll see him this afternoon. Here's the replay from race 1 then. We saw in the background Takuma Matsuyama stalling on the line. Thankfully no one collected the Japanese rider. Is it again Daniel Munoz getting the pole into hole shot into turn 1, but Artigas was soon at the front, barging his way past Acosta there, and he was soon up the inside. But Izan Guevara was a threat throughout, and he was your early race leader. Here we see Artigas going up the inside of the number 28 into turn 13. We'd see drama there on the final lap as the number 70 of Julian Garcia crashing out. As Adrian Fernandez took a turn at the front, it really was another fantastic Moto3 battle here in Jerez. Pedro Acosta, Artigas, Guevara, Gerard Rio, David Salvador, Daniel Holgado. There we go, see again, turn 6. Drama as Guevara and Fernandez got close for comfort. This left Acosta and Artigas at the front, but this was all going to change. Artigas managed to get to the front, turn 6 again, providing plenty of passing opportunities for the Moto3 riders. And Artigas threatened to get away. There we saw yesterday's podium man Gerard Rio slipping out at turn 9, took in the front, and this was your last lap. David Salvador in hot, tagging the back of Acosta, who was lucky to stay on. Adrian Fernandez there getting out of shape as well, and this left Izan Guevara to pick up his maiden Moto3 Junior World Championship win from Xavi Artigas, who extends his lead in the championship, with Acosta picking up P3. We'll see the results coming up on your screen in a minute, and what was a fantastic opening race here on Sunday in Jerez. Izan Guevara beating Xavi Artigas by 10th as the top 5 crossed the line within half a second. We're used to seeing that in Moto3, aren't we? Kazuki Masaki, Diogo Moreira, Daniel Munoz and Jose Julian Garcia, completing the top 9 riders, with David Munoz in 10th. Scott Ogden, P11 for the British rider, that's a good result for him. Jose Antonio Rueda, Asman, Lorenzo Felon and Leonardo Taccini completed the points in the top 15, with Voschek, who missed yesterday's race for a technical issue, 16th. Busari, riding injured in the junior talent team ranks, he was 18th. Clement Rouge, Fusco, Josh Watley moved up to 21st from 33rd on the grid. Nicolas Spinelli, Arita, Dirk Geiger and Gavin Plonks were race finishers in the top 25. And the other finishers were Alejandro Diaz, Julian Dural and Takuma Matsuyama. Not the start of the day Takuma Matsuyama would have wanted. He stalled it on the line, but he'll be ready to go again from P9 tomorrow, this afternoon, sorry. So now get set for the podium, Jack.
Yeah, as we see the podium men come out, Pedro Acosta visibly disappointed down there in Parc Fermé, but you got to say, he obviously thought he was on through a win there as he just tried to cut back inside Izan Guevara before that contact with the unfortunate Juan Rodriguez, it was, that crashed out.
Izan Guevara bounces away onto the podium. He's of course happy with his maiden win at this level, and I assume that's going to be the first of many for Izan Guevara. He really is a special talent. The Aspar team lift the winner's trophy. Acosta will collect the 3rd place trophy. He looks pretty dejected with that, and you got to say rightly so, because Xavi Artigas collects the P2 trophy and extends his lead in the championship. But here he is, Izan Guevara lifts the trophy, celebrates with his team down there, and he'll get a nice little €500 check to go with it. Not a bad day's work, and the day's work isn't over for the Moto3 riders. As we've mentioned, another race coming this afternoon as we get set for the Spanish national anthem.
Enhorabuena.
So Izan Guevara victorious for the first time in the Moto3 Junior World Championship. Congratulations to that man, absolutely fantastic ride as we see them spray the fizzy water once more, as of course all these boys are too young to be spraying the champagne. But yeah, great ride from Izan, and also a great ride from those other two guys as well, Artigas and Acosta. Unfortunate for Acosta, really thought he was going to cut his way under Guevara there to take the race win, but obviously in racing you cannot ever say what it is until they cross the line. So it all means that Xavi Artigas has 90 points at the head of the championship, with Acosta trailing him by 29 now, with Holgado and Guevara up to 4th. Jose Julian Garcia is 5th, David Salvador, Adrian Fernandez, Gerard Riu and Diogo Moreira, the Brazilian, in 9th place in the championship. Max Cook is 10th, the unfortunate Max Cook who's injured. Kazuki Masaki in 11th, Jose Antonio Rueda, Daniel Munoz, the pole man from today, Saifuddin Asman, try that one again, Scott Ogden, David Munoz and Billy Van Erde down in 17th. Takuma Matsuyama unfortunately stalled on the line. He's in 18th in the championship. Clement Rouge, Joel Kelso, who crashed out early, I think it was lap 1, from Josh Watley, Nicholas Spinelli, Julian Dural, Lorenzo Fallon and Tachikum Bouazri. And completing the points in the championship is Leonardo Ticini in 26th with 2 points. So Moto3 race 1 is complete, and it all came down to the classic Jerez finish. Turn 13, Lorenzo corner, as unfortunately David Salvador crashed out after clipping the rear wheel of Pedro Acosta. Luckily Acosta stayed on and went on to finish 3rd, but it was that man, the number 28, that got the drive to the line and beat Xavi Artigas, Pedro Acosta, Daniel Holgado and Adrian Fernandez to the flag to take his first Moto3 Junior World Championship victory. To see him coming across the line, absolutely ecstatic, already going crazy before he'd even crossed it. Yeah, absolutely pumped. Phenomenal performance from Izan Guevara. Let's see if he can do it again in race 2 at 2 o'clock this afternoon.